live.
She was like, well, I don't think we're gonna need it, Andy, because, you know, I read the laws and horses have the right of way on the road in New Hampshire. And I was like, is it not when they're not under saddle or harness
That's
running
right.
down the road at midnight?
All right, 5:30 having arrived, call the meeting to order. Stand aside to the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, Conservation Commission, step up to the microphone, please.
My name is Kate Hartnett, and I represent the Deerfield Conservation Commission, and I'm here tonight to request, on behalf of the Conservation Commission, approval from the Select Board to accept a very generous donation by Ms. Guile By, who happens to be sitting in the audience, of about 128 acres of land on Nottingham Road, donated in full with the intent of making it a town forest. And this donation is part of a very complicated set of transactions that will result in a town forest, 128 acres, and the rest of the land ultimately ending up in protection, especially of the prime ag and soils of statewide importance, and being used for farming purposes in the future. So I believe that the board has a memo dated February 16th that reviews the outline of what we're proposing for the 166 acres, subdividing 128 and 38 acres off the 166. And all of this work is being done through a very big pot of money, which was put together from a variety of sources by the Conservation Commission. We received a $50,000 anonymous donation. We have the donation of the 128 acres by Guile By, $50,000 L-CHIP grant, which we received in November, and we met with the Select Board last year before we made that application, and then we've got another about $7,500, which we may or may not do as a transaction grant, depending on deadlines, and then the balance coming from the Conservation Fund. So the Conservation Fund has been working on this for a number of years. We're very happy to report that it's just about a 3-to-1 leveraging of Conservation Fund monies to protect, ultimately will end up being the pretty much most of a 180-acre parcel with a lot of development potential. And so the reason I'm here tonight is to review this with the Select Board based on the advice of John Harrington. And if you are willing to accept this gift, I think that there's a subsequent public hearing that has to happen. So tonight is just a chance to talk about it, is my understanding.
Good.
Yeah, I think this is absolutely something that we should accept, support, and whatever else we need to do, particularly given the location. This is betwixt and between a number of other large conservation parcels in that immediate area, and is it Great Brook that comes through there?
Yes, actually, Andy, and thank you for saying that, because I've got some of my favorite maps here which I could circulate, but what Andy's talking about basically is the Great Brook corridor and then a bunch of lands, all of this land to the north. This all fits in with a larger landscape scale set of conservation projects. So it's part of a 50-year project.
Go ahead. No, go finish.
I'm very much in support of conserving this area for a couple of reasons. One is I think conservation in general is a wonderful thing for the town to do, and secondly, that's a great place to hunt deer, that whole corridor.
Indeed. Go ahead, Dick.
Kate, you're gonna be going to the ZBA for the, to get the subdivision or to be able to get this lot as, be able to be approved by the planning board?
Yes, in fact, Guile just submitted the application today for the March 27th ZBA
Oh, good.
meeting. The reason we need to do that is because her donation, which you can see in the map in front of you, is a big chunk big chunk of land, but it only has a skinny pipe that comes out to the road, so we don't have the 200 feet of frontage. And we evaluated a variety of ways of doing this, and we're hoping to not go to the ZBA primarily because it puts in jeopardy the $7,500 transaction grant, but because of the complexity of the project, it seems like that was really the best path. So that grant is in the balance, but we're going to the ZBA on the 27th of March.
Is that necessary?
Yes, because we don't have 200 feet of frontage.
Right, but being from her, being a quote gift to the town, it still has to.
Fred?
In order to do the subdivision, that lot has to have 200 feet of
Correct.
frontage.
I
And if it
didn't
doesn't have-
know where it's gonna be conservation, it doesn't, if that applied to
It's not being developed.
not being developed.
Yeah, we don't have anything in the regulations that
Okay.
says anything.
I just can't agree with Andy anymore, what a great gift to accept. Make it as easy for us as possible.
Do we want to make a motion?
So moved,
Second?
Moved and seconded to accept
the 120,
128.
I think we'll actually have to wait until after the public hearing to finalize our acceptance,
Right.
or we should anyway.
right.
It shows that we're actually listening at the
to go
public hearing.
forward with the,
So a motion to go forward with the public hearing,
correct.
Yeah, that's good.
Second.
and Andy seconded it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Absolutely. So we'll schedule a public hearing and get it down the road as quick as possible.
27th? Or do we have to wait until then so we can do it all?
I need a certain length of time.
Set it up. Okay.
So, John, do you have a thought of when that might happen? Public hearing?
I'd have to look at the Board of Selectmen's schedule, but I can let you know.
Okay, that'd be great. Conservation Commission would appreciate knowing when that date is.
As early as possible.
That'd be great.
Anyone else? Thank you very much. Thank you, Guile. Thanks, Kate, for coming to explain it to us again.
Thanks for your support. It's really a long road, and it's nice to be at this point on the track. Thank you.
Thank you.
To Mary Pendleton and Admiral Pendleton and
Right?
all those good Marstons that came 250 years ago to settle in Deerfield. All part of that.
Excellent. Thank you.
It's the site of our, or very close to the site of our first garrison, too.
Yes.
Right.
Longfellow,
Mm-hmm.
one of the oldest in New Hampshire.
All right. Thanks, Kate. Miss Fifield? No?
No.
Trying to think. I don't see the,
I would bet that that is Ms. Lynn.
sorry. I'm guessing.
I don't see Susan. so-
Can we just make a motion to allow them to,
To do all of those things?
or is it more than the dumpster out front?
It's the annual triathlon, which the police department is on board with.
Yep.
They would. I will remind them that they need to seek the police
Yeah, that was,
involvement.
Right.
That was part of the reason
So that was-
for them presenting tonight, so that all those steps could be followed. They had approval last year, but I think
So
it
we-
needs to be done annually.
So we have time, then we don't have to act on it tonight.
Well, if she comes in.
I could see.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that we could give her tentative approval and just, I mean, the primary concern town-wise has been that they coordinate with the police department for the use of public roads for
Right.
the triathlon.
They
And
want
I
to have it on the 28th of July. They would like to use the Deerfield roads to host a second annual triathlon. Police detail 2 officers Deerfield Rescue for support, but I'd like to run it past them first.
Yeah, there are two primary town locations they use too. They gather at the school and then bus from the school to VZ Park. So they also offset the operation at VZ Park to some extent for the swimming part of it.
Mm-hmm. And where do they go from PC Park?
They run back,
Isn't it bike back?
yeah, bike and then run. And they bike sort of a circuitous loop back to the school, and then they run the equivalent, I believe, of the 5K, the cross-country trail and
Oh,
around
okay.
up by the old Brown Place.
Mm-hmm.
So, until they run it past the police department,
I'm okay with it,
yeah,
certainly.
I'm okay, but, you know, let's get
Consensus.
police approval, and, does anybody have a problem with them using the parking lot for Metal Drive, May 5th and 6th?
Not at all.
No,
problem.
that's been really successful for them,
Yeah.
too.
All right, we'll move on, and if she comes in, we'll, tell her what we thought. Ms. Lynn? If you could go to the, microphone, please.
Hi, good evening. I'm Miss Lynn. I'm one of the various owners of the Nine Lions restaurant. It's been in the family name for over 8 years now. It's finally just going to be in my name under the PAL Properties, which is my company that owns the building and owns the small building that's next door. And I'm going to just incorporate the whole thing, so it includes a restaurant too. And to get the liquor license, the meals license, and everything all switched over to that company, part of it is going to the town to let them know that this is happening and get your permission to answer any questions that you may have.
Anyone, go ahead.
The only question I would have, I know per the RSAs, we're supposed to inquire if you're going to change your entertainment and have exotic dancing or anything like that. And-
No, we're not.
Oh, good, good.
Thank heavens.
Was it strictly
No, the entertainment's going to stay the same. It's the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. We try as best as we can to get like local, people who are wanting to, become famous entertainers. We've had one that kind of went on. Nicole Knox, I think is what her name is. Yeah, she did the New Hampshire 603 song that she did for the governor. She started at our restaurant. So we try to feature them as much as we can. We don't typically have bands there. We just have one or two singers, and that's all we're going to continue to do.
I'd be in agreement of
Okay.
continuing permission.
Isn't there a form or a letter we have to send out?
And I think you need written permission or
Or
approval, whatever, from the
to
board.
change the, I can draw that up for you and send it to you so you can just sign it. It's just a statement that says that you acknowledge that we're continuing with our entertainment and that it will become the property of PAL Properties is all it is.
I think typically we
What
say
is
we
it?
have no
Say it.
opposition.
NP?
PAL.
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 Yeah.
It's my initials.
Oh, okay.
All right,
Yeah, that's it.
Thank
Fair
you.
enough.
Thanks for
Okay.
coming in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, how about a non-public under L?
Okay, I'll make a motion. We go into non-public RSA 91A3, Roman numeral 2, letter L.
L.
Consideration of legal advice provided by legal counsel, either in writing or orally, to one or more members of the public body, even where legal counsel is not present.
Second?
Andy?
Yes.
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 Yes, all right. No, for the record, that no decisions were made in a non-public session. Can I get a motion to seal the minutes?
So moved.
Who seconded?
Fred.
Fred?
I seconded.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you for calling me on that, Dick. All right, now, outstanding minutes for the February 5th.
I would move the minutes of February 5th as written.
Second.
I've got comments.
Go ahead, Fred.
Page 1, I don't have continuous numbering. All I got is
Oh, yeah.
1 through 10. So.
Oh, yeah, 1 through 10 on every page, continued, right?
Ah, I see what happened.
So on the bottom of page 1 at number 2,
That's
Where-
close enough, thank you.
where Chairman Barry, and just put in parentheses, line segment drawn on the plan. This is after around L-1. So it just put in parentheses, line segment drawn on the plan. This is just for clarification as to what we're talking about.
Line segment
Yeah.
drawn on the plan.
Right. And being in parentheses is not, we're not saying that that's exactly what was stated, but just clarification. Page 2, first, number 1, Chairman Barry, it probably, because it ends in a question mark, it should be asked rather than stated. Can you agree on that?
Chairman Barry.
Asked if the town couldn't do that.
Yeah, rather than stated. If it was stated, it would be a period and not a question mark.
So do you want to take the question mark out, or?
No, no,
change the word?
well,
No, just, instead of stated, asked if
Asked if the town could do that.
could do that,
Kill the NT too.
yeah.
yeah. Line 8, similarly as to the other line segment drawn on the plan for references to L2 and L8.
So line segment drawn on plan.
Line segment drawn on the plan, the last number 9 at the bottom of the page, or close to the bottom of the page, where Chairman Barry was something missing in there. It should be, I believe it should be asked if they are looking off lot 68. Let's see, page 3, 1, 2, the third number 1 down, where it starts off, Mr. Franklin, is just a correction. Wherever should be one word rather than two words.
Mm-hmm.
And continuing down, we got one, the second number 5 after that line.
Mm-hmm.
And he has rather than have an original. Get that?
Yep.
Page 4, the second number 1 has number 50926 plan and basically traced off scratch how and just the geometry of that plan.
Got it?
Let's see. About 2/3 of the way down, we have a three-line paragraph, the number 8 line on that. Elevation is NAD, parentheses, North American, datum, not dato.
Data.
Datum,
D-A-T-U-M.
D-U-M. Nothing on 5. 6, minor correction, but the second number 2 on page 6, Mr. Franklin continued to state rather than stated. Nothing on 7, nothing on 8. Another wherever, it's 2/3 of the way down, 3-line sentence, Selectman Robertson stated. The number 1 line in that paragraph, it's but almost at the end of this, the paragraph, the end of that sentence. For lack of a better term, wherever they hit the water.
Got it.
So, again, one word. Bottom of page 9. And I'm not sure what is meant here. Based on the enclosed survey, we have determined a median ratio of the land, buildings, and manufactured housing in your tax?
I was reading from their letter. I'm not sure
But
what
it
that,
actually says tax?
can't be 100% certain.
Okay. You see my problem with,
Yeah.
I bet that you could strike those words, your tax and be more correct.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
What are
in your
we,
municipality.
what are
yeah.
we scratching?
Your tax and.
Okay, got it.
Uh, This is just a comment, when I went down to grab the water sample at the garage, Mr. Kimball said that he didn't put a pipe in out there, he was putting an electrical line, apparently. With that's the patch that's out there, that's an electrical line. So he said, "Don't blame me."
Oh, out here?
Yeah,
No, that was electric.
yeah, that's,
Yeah, that was electric.
right. So he said,
Because
We had
they
to
hit-
shut down the
They
building.
hit another one while they were doing it,
was that right?
right?
So we had some discussion, and we kind of alluded to that might be a drain pipe that's in that patch, and
Yes.
it's not. And I just wanted to reflect that from.
The
It's not
pipe
in
goes
there.
in a different direction, but it goes all the way down the length of the parking lot, as I understand.
Mr. Kimball just wanted to make sure that we were aware that
That's
there wasn't a pipe under that patch. Page 11. Number 8, first number 8. The end of that line. Some of them registered rather than the, and some not. And the question I had too was, should we also have and some unidentifiable?
I think unidentifiable was probably when she was listening to the tape.
She couldn't hear
She
what it
couldn't
was.
make out what was being said.
Okay,
There's also on that line 8, it's vehicles and or trailers over there for a substantial amount over their weight, or
No.
no, just sitting over there.
They're over there.
they're over there?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
Just for the record, I think that some progress was made in locating owners of some of those.
Yes.
It
I
appears
believe so.
one is gone. Yeah. Under new business, number 9, line 9, excuse me, under new business, Selectman Gary stated that he and Mr. Harrington had a meeting. The line number 3, in that same paragraph, starts off with Deerfield. That boundary, insert marker, should end up being moved.
Yeah, we don't generally move the boundary.
And almost done. Page 13, first line 4. Near the end of the line, David Noyes set that bound with the help of the Epsom road agent who would, insert would, W-O-U-L-D, drill a hole.
Mm-hmm.
And then, going down to the second 0, the 3-line paragraph, starting off with Selectman Robertson, and line number 1 in that paragraph, towards the very end. Merrimack and Rockingham counties changed their, not lot line, but county line. And that's it.
Anyone else?
Sorry it took so much time.
That's all right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now we have the minutes of the 28th of January. Minutes of the public meeting.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any questions?
No comments.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very well. I have an accounts payable manifest in the amount of $53,311.13.
So moved?
Second.
Andy and Jeff, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? I have a payroll manifest grossing at $56,990.16, netting at $44,093.81.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Dick
Second, Fred.
and Fred. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I have a request for a veteran's tax credit for Stanley Goddard, 209 South Road. Paperwork is in order.
Make a motion that we grant the veterans tax credit?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is granted. $500. I have a veteran's tax credit, veteran's credit for Eric Seitz, 20 Cole Road, in the amount of $500. No, I'm sorry, yeah, up to $500. And all veterans, tax credit.
I would make a motion that we grant the maximum allowable to veteran Eric Seitz.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All veterans tax credit for Robert Lawn, 17 Country Road, in the amount of $500.
I would make a motion that we grant that veterans tax credit as well.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? It's granted. Veterans tax credit in the amount of $500 for John McGowan, 21 Parade Road.
So moved.
Second?
Seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? a veteran's tax credit, $500 for Hermanus Pretorius, 68 Bloomfield Road.
I would make a motion that we grant Hermanos Pretorius the Veterans Tax Credit.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, background noise. I have a request for an abatement for the property on 109 Griffin Road, owned by the 109 Griffin Road LLC. Been requested to abate the amount of $89,700 for the 2017 property tax on map 405, lot 45, located at 109 Griffin Road. The old assessment would be $258,817, and the new one would be $169,117. After an inspection of the property, several corrections were made due to the current condition of the building. Also deleted the camper as it was removed prior to April 1st, 2017.
Is that recommended by the?
Recommended by the assessors.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The abatement is granted. Can you explain the HIPAA Business Associate Agreement, please?
Those documents are all to do with the new FSA for 2018. We're still with Health Trust. There's 3 members that are taking advantage of that program. This is just the new documents.
For this year.
Correct.
So could I have the board's, motion from the board approving me to sign the HIPAA Business Associate Agreement, the Benefit Advantage Services Agreement, and the Town of Deerfield Section 125 Flexible Benefits Plan Adoption Agreement, all having to do with the insurance, the new FSA.
I would make a motion granting the chairman the authority to sign those documents on behalf of the board, authorizing the Section 125 cafeteria plan and necessary other documentation.
Second. Jeff. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I think you were working at Coggett Hospital.
Yeah.
Starbucks.
Right. Where's my latte? The hell is a latte? I don't-
They actually have good coffee at Concord Hospital, too.
Yeah.
What's that?
They have good coffee at Concord
They
Hospital.
do.
too.
Is there something specific you were looking for, sir?
Yeah, I just had a inquiry on my property here in town, but I can wait. I'm in no rush. It's up to you guys.
What kind of inquiry? How can we help?
I live at 8 Silly Road, Deerfield, New Hampshire. My mailing address is 8 Silly Road, Raymond, New Hampshire. My next door neighbor.
Can you, you should go to the microphone.
You may want to wait on this.
Sorry, guys.
Why?
It's going to take a few minutes.
Just-
If you want to bring it up now.
Go ahead.
My name is James McDonald. I'm from 8 Silly Road, Deerfield, New Hampshire. My mailing address is actually 8 Silly Road, Raymond, New Hampshire. A little confusion there. My next door neighbor, Paul Taylor, who's on the Deerfield side of me, has for probably around 20 years or so had a good lot of school buses parking out on his property behind mine. And it has become quite a nuisance to me, both physically, mentally, I'd say health-wise and safety-wise. And I just wanted to bring that up with the board and see what could possibly be done. They have 8 to 12 buses parking in the residential lot, passing within feet of my property line from anywhere from 5:30 in the morning to 9, 10 at night, every day of the week. I know there's a few different trucking companies that are using the property. They have power set up, they have toilets set up, they have, they service the vehicles there as well as.
So this is this property that you're talking about, the neighbors, is that also in Deerfield?
Yes, sir. My property,
Behind the riding arena, the last place in Deerfield.
Okay.
so my property is right on Silly Road, which is a Class 6, maintained by the town. They plow just right in front of my house. They do a 3-point turn and go back down west towards 107. The school buses come from, I guess it would be north to south, and cross Silly Road, which is also an issue for me with plowing and shoveling, where they will plow their path.
Harrington used to live?
Yes, Bud and Pearl are my great-grandparents.
Okay.
They will plow their way out and kind of block me in and make a trail across Silly Road, which is a town-maintained road. There's been issues with drivers driving very irresponsibly, disrespectfully, very fast through there. There's 8 to 10 drivers every day going in and out morning and in and out at night. So that's 32 pieces of traffic, and then the buses as well, in and out. It's a very bad noise thing for me from 5 in the morning when they start those things up and high rev and get the diesels running, and the dust in the dry season coming in the windows, coming through the property, and again, just the welcoming of many people across the property, as to even when I had a woman walking in front of my house with a flashlight at 5:30 in the morning recently, buzzing around. I don't know what she's looking for. Maybe she was looking for a better way up the driveway in the ice.
Is this a specific bus company that is next door to you?
To my understanding, about 20 years ago, there was a handshake agreement with, I believe, I don't want to put names out there, but a Phil Dale, something like that. Just a handshake agreement. Hey, buddy, can I park my buses here? And it was only 2 or 3 buses, and it was kind of temporary-ish type thing. And now it's just escalated to kind of a substation. But I also would believe that Dale Transportation has been bought up by a kind of a conglomerate of sorts.
True.
And there'll be Goffstown Trucking, Raymond School District,
First Student.
SAU, STA. There's a pretty good number of them.
So,
There's fuel leakage up there in the ground. There's a porta potty I smell all the time. They got their chargers running. They got the buses running, revving up 5 in the
do you
morning.
know whose property this is?
It's
He knows.
yeah.
He knows.
Paul Taylor, who's a
Taylor.
great person, great guy. I've spoken with him about it as well. I've known him my whole life. And I did tell him my concerns and that I was going to look into this. I apologized to him. He receives funds for this monthly. And I do feel bad potentially harming his pocket, but it affects me on a day-to-day basis tremendously. Like I said, there's safety issues, I believe, crossing Silly Road. There's times where I either got to slam my brakes or the bus has to slam their brakes, and I'm just trying to drive out of my house. Again, people in and out all day long for, like I said, 5 a.m. till 9 at night every single day, and it's just become a big nuisance for me, and I was hoping
Building
to.
inspector?
Yeah,
Code enforcement
Code
officers,
enforcement
I think
officer.
we have to notify.
right. And this certainly, they've never been to the planning board for a site plan. Obviously, it's a commercial operation that they're operating there now, and whether or not it's been in existence for 20 years or whatever, it still does not predate the zoning ordinance.
Right.
So they would still have to come into the planning board get site plan review.
I think it all started when there was a bus driver from that end of town, and they could get in the bus there and work their way this direction, all the way to
That's right.
Concord.
That's right.
But now, I was notified about this and went down. I couldn't believe it.
So how many buses are there?
It was between over 8 the day I did a drive-through.
And they're repairing them, and
It's unfortunately, it's turned into a commercial operation and
Yeah.
a residence.
right.
Is there a home there? Is there property?
Oh, yeah, his house and the other guy's house, and it's a big gravel yard out behind
Yeah,
it. It's a
it's
parking
huge.
lot.
Silly Road is east and west right there, and in the corner of Silly Road and the road I'm speaking of, the buses going up, is the division of my property and Paul's. So they ride right up my property line on the edge of his. Whether or not exact
Right.
footage-wise, I'm not sure. But I could stick a tape measure out and hit the bus while they pass my bedroom window every morning.
All right, why don't we get the code enforcement officer on this?
Yeah, and
I had reached out with no luck with that over about 2-3 weeks ago and spoke with him again today. I did not like the answer and response and the due diligence that had been done. That's why I decided to come here tonight and bring it up officially.
I did the right thing.
Thank you. And again, I'm not here and I don't want to be upset and I am causing any trouble for anyone.
You're having a little trouble, and it sounds like something's going on that's not necessarily permitted.
I didn't believe so.
So why don't you let us have the code enforcement officer take a look at it and make a report back to us? And can we get a phone number? Can you give a phone number to Mr. Harrington?
Yeah. It's area code 727-674-8674.
So he can contact you when we have a little more information for you.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Yes, I would really appreciate it, and not to say, hey, hurry up, but I would like some kind of answer, maybe shortly. I didn't know if you would think it would take a long time, or,
I don't believe it to be something that's going to take a long time, but it may be a week or so before we
Okay.
get back to you.
and then maybe potentially have to come back in a few weeks and speak again, or,
We'll let you know.
We'll let you know.
all right,
I promise.
all right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I
Should have
appreciate
a
it.
quiet week this week, anyway.
What's that?
Should be a little quieter this week.
Yeah, actually, I did notice that this morning, that was great.
vacation.
Thanks
Thanks,
for coming
guys,
in.
have a great week.
Thank you, sir.
Where the Deerfield Raymond line is.
Right.
It's the dirt road that runs off to the left if you're headed towards Raymond. Actually,
Just past Durgan's
Kentucky
pulling
Way.
horses. Ralph's, the old Ralph's Cell, and then, looks like the old road used to go in like this.
There used to be a veterinary clinic in there. There's still a
That's right.
riding arena.
Big old red barn.
Silly Road keeps running out over there, but.
I didn't know that was a road through there.
All right, we previously approved the hiring of Todd Carr as a full-time police officer.
Right.
We just need to sign his oath form.
Just if I could note,
Yes.
I've had several people talk to me about the increased vigilance of the new police officers, but the same people that brought to my attention the increased vigilance also said that they thought they were very polite, very professional young officers and were actually not angry, so.
Well, that's good.
They let him off the first.
No, I don't necessarily think they did.
Insurance Solutions for Emergency Services. This is a
group term life insurance for the fire department.
All right, so the group term life insurance for the fire department,
It's the renewal of,
what's that?
is this the renewal of?
Yes. I would like the board's approval for me to sign.
I would make a motion that we authorize the Chairman of the Board of Selectmen to sign the renewal of the life insurance agreement for the firefighters.
Group term life insurance.
Group term life insurance.
Second.
Fred. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Dated at? I don't know what dated at means.
Deerfield.
Deerfield? Thank you, sir. Guess that would be obvious, wouldn't it? I want to note for the record that 3 members of the Board of Selectmen on the 16th of February approved an accounts payable manifest in the amount of $78,620.33. And then on the same dates, the same 3 members of the Board of Selectmen approved an accounts payable manifest in the amount of $37,629.62.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I would note that Mrs. Fife is here. If we
Oh,
wanted
cool.
to.
Mrs. Fifield?
Thank you so
sorry,
much.
miss.
I apologize profusely. I seriously thought you guys started at 6:30.
Not in a long time.
that would-
I'm so,
That's all
well,
right.
you know, I'm a old timer.
We're usually grilling hot dogs
We
by
already
then.
talked about your situation.
Yeah, Cindy was just getting me caught up.
So, run it past the police department and the fire rescue.
We already have, and we've gotten their blessing. But we wanted
Be
to make
aware of
sure
this?
that,
That the fire department and the rescue department has already given, I mean, the police department has
I
given.
had not been told.
We were not aware. Okay.
I have had a meeting with Gary, and I just had my lovely meeting with Cindy.
Okay.
But I had actually texted her before.
So, based on that,
It's good to go.
Yeah.
we have no problem with you doing the triathlon.
No problems with using the roadways. I've even spoken to Mark Young to make sure that he's okay with
Is
us
he
being
racing?
on the. You know, I want him to.
And as for the metal drive, that's also okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Do you want us to keep coming each year to
Yes.
get those?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. We just
Can't
wanted
hurt.
to make sure, well, and we wanted to make sure that you didn't, we weren't taking up your time.
Not at all.
All good.
All
That's
right,
why we're
perfect.
here.
Great, then we're gonna see you again next year, because we're hoping keeps working for us.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. I'm sorry I was late.
Okay.
Thanks
Not
for
a
doing,
problem. We're
thanks for
still
doing the
here.
metal drive.
What was that?
Thanks for doing the metal drive.
Oh, you know what? It's so good. It gets stuff out of my yard.
I made 2
I
trips
save it
last
up
year.
every year. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You too. I have a notice of intent to cut wood or timber. Courtney Kearley Stock and Stephen Stock. Mount Delight Road.
Just so we get it on tape, I would note that the metal drive last year was happy to take appliances as well.
Ooh, good.
What about computer screens?
Yeah.
We weren't interested in computer screens.
A lot of metal in them.
I have a notice of intent to cut Levi St. Germain, Lang Road. That's all right. We're just hanging out all over the place. Hey, do you remember the issues with FICA and Medi
Yes.
that we sent the extra money in?
Mm-hmm.
The IRS has decided to fine us for the year 2015, $134.04. And they'll probably fine us for the other years too, when they get around to it. That and a letter from Mr. Simpkins, Division of Forests and Lands. This emails for the Board of Selectmen to let you know that I am in receipt of their letter dated 2/9/18 regarding the forest fire warden for the town of Deerfield. Please let them know we are conducting our investigation as required under RSA 227-L:7. Once that is complete, we will be in touch.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
With regard to that, we still have,
2 fire wardens.
2 fire warden appointment forms, one for Diane Kimball and one for Adam Gill. And I don't recall whether we ever asked Matt if he had an opinion one way or the other, whether we appointed them. I'm assuming that it might make things like burn permit
Yep.
issue easier if he's got more rather than less fire wardens.
Yeah.
I
At
agree.
some point, we should probably
Deal with
appoint them unless we
Yeah.
are advised otherwise.
Can you ask Matt what he thinks? I agree. All right. How about the town administrator's report?
Did I miss?
I have several items tonight. The ongoing subject of three-phase power out to the transfer station, the building code enforcement officer did meet with them several weeks ago, and they gave him an estimate at this time of $370,000 to run the power from the substation at the fairgrounds across to the transfer station. There was another option that they were looking at, which involved Eversource putting in a meter at 107 where there's three-phase power. They were unable to get a response from Eversource, but I wanted to come forward with this estimate anyway to get back to the board.
We can probably wait a little longer then.
Oh, the 370,000? Yeah.
Right.
But what's annoying me is Eversource is not even bothering to get back to them because they could cut it in half at least.
I bet they will.
Might be able to put a generation plant up there for that much.
As Chairman Barry mentioned, that there was a $134.04 penalty related to late payment on the 2015, and he also mentioned that the 2014 and 16 are likely to come later as well, as soon as the IRS gets to reviewing those documents. I've checked that out with the treasurer, and she feels pretty secure that we will be getting additional letters. A reminder that on March 1st, Deerfield goes to a one-check system payment for car registration. Tax collector, town clerk wanted me to remind everyone that that would be starting. It's going to be the precursor to being able to accept credit cards for car registration.
That's still a ways away. credit card.
Months away, but not too far. And lastly, earlier, the board had asked me to schedule monthly meetings for department heads to come in and talk to the board, and quarterly meetings for commissions or boards to come in and update you. I'm asking the board to clarify that a little bit more on exactly which departments within the town you'd like to see monthly, and what boards or commissions you'd like to see quarterly.
Yeah, I think we would, typically, we've seen the land use commissions quarterly.
Yeah.
I know Parks and Rec is a commission, but we used to see them monthly or get some sort of report monthly. We also used to get a monthly report from the police department and from fire and rescue.
Number of calls type thing.
Yeah, they'd just give us an overview, or if something was broken, or it seemed to lots of times be about equipment or.
So fire and rescue, police department, highway department, and the transfer station on a monthly basis, we should receive some sort of,
Yeah, and I think Parks and Rec is a good one to see monthly too.
okay,
There's a significant amount of revenue that moves through Park and Rec now.
okay.
So for monthly, I have Parks and Rec, Police, Fire Rescue, Highway, and Transfer Station.
Yep.
It's agreeable to me.
Right.
And quarterly would be the land use commissions, such as Planning Board.
Zoning Board,
ZBA,
Conservation Commission.
conservation.
I will get those scheduled. Thank you.
The one other thing that might, well, if we have Rick coming for transfer station, we used to see the code enforcement officer somewhat semi-regularly to just give us an idea about what we were looking at for building permits and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that would be good too.
That's all for me tonight. Thank you.
Questions for the town administrator?
Not right now.
All right, unfinished business. Why don't we look at the road naming process? Now, are we going to be looking to go backwards?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should.
we need to get it wrapped up.
All right, so we need to go back to the last one we approved. Anybody remember that?
No.
Up on Ridgeview on the lake. Last one I remember was Couture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. That was the last one that we officially discussed.
All right, so another, well, first, is everybody happy with the road approval steps and the draft form?
Yeah, that looks fine.
Yep.
Looks good.
Okay, so why don't,
I gave the form to the clerk on the planning board, Jane Boucher,
okay,
so she'll be hanging that out.
at every future,
Yeah,
okay. So I guess, again, the code enforcement officer needs to go back to the properties that have not been approved by the Board of Selectmen and get them on board.
To what date? How far back?
I think the last one the board approved was the Courtois road name change on Pleasant Lake.
It'll be 3 years.
Yeah?
So any roads that have been named in the last 3 years?
And then we can give you a list if we see any others
Right.
that are green that should be red.
Rick did speak to me last week, and because we had talked about the use of the term lane
Yeah.
being for private roads.
Red- red
And he
ones.
was under the impression that the lane designation was right around the lake.
That was my impression also.
Okay.
That was
So-
one of my concerns when I'd seen Lois Lane, was that was off of Ridge Road as
Yeah.
opposed, and it was specifically geared towards, lane was gonna be applicable to the lakeside properties, so it would just automatically register for 911 if it was a lane that
Yeah, okay.
headed to the lake.
All right, so that still is the philosophy on that. Okay, but he did raise some concerns to me with regard to assuming that we didn't agree with the names that had been chosen for some locations, and the headaches that he would see with regard to changing a name. The one specifically he had mentioned was the one Major John Simpson way underneath the power lines, or next to the power lines. And I would assume that there would not be a major objection to the name, that particular name, since it obviously has some historical significance. And that I thought that possibly the way to correct the situation out there is to make the sign red instead of green.
That's where we're headed.
Yeah.
I was told that that's already in the works.
Oh, it is,
to get
okay.
it- Get it red.
Yeah.
Interesting to note that Major John Simpson lived up the road on Lang Road.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I think we're on the right page.
All right, when we'll see what the code enforcement officer
And
finds.
So, next thing I'll bring to you is a list of roads
Yes.
from the past 3 years. Would you like the application started
Yes.
at this time?
We should inform the property owners that there was a process that they did not complete. All right, new business, an update to the vacation policy. Has anyone read, yes, sir?
Yeah, the one thing that stood out to me, I read the verbal portion of it, which made pretty good sense to me, but when I looked at the chart, I didn't know if that, I guess based on the asterisks, I was wondering, it still looked like first-year employees weren't necessarily gonna get vacation based on the, maybe I'm just misreading it.
0 to 1 year.
But I thought the intent was that during that first year, they could have 40 hours.
That was
That
my
is the
understanding.
intent.
Okay.
So that's what you mean by 0 to 1
Correct.
during that.
I worked with the police chief on this, and he was looking for further clarification, so I added that range in there to make it absolutely clear. That was the intent anyway.
So wouldn't it have to be that line again from 1 to 2? It would be 40 also? Or am I not reading the next one down?
Or
Mine's
the
kinda
word
blurry.
after 0 to 1 year.
Right, but if 0 to 1, then it should be 1 to 2 would still be 40, because we were
Yeah.
just trying to give them 40 to start with. Then after 2, they get 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you
So
mean.
add that line.
So you want to see 1 to 2?
Yes. I think we needed that clarity about that
Sure.
first year, being able to give them the 40.
Do we, go ahead.
So instead of putting 2 years, you want 1 to 2?
No, in between 0 to 1
Yeah.
and 2 years, it should be 1 to 2.
Because we're not going to give them 80 hours after the first year.
Yeah.
So you're gonna put 40 down there again.
Gotcha, okay.
40 will be twice, then the 80, and then,
Yep.
Remove the after.
So
We
the
wanna give-
first 2 years, you get 1 week each
Yes.
year.
Each year, yeah.
correct.
The way it's been your first year, you didn't have any,
Right.
Right.
I think
Till
it
the
makes
second
sense
year.
to, these people have got real lives, and
Do we wish to approve that with the amended language? Or wait?
I would make a motion to approve it with the amended language.
Second?
And would that
Get it in
be
the words.
retroactive to January 1st?
Yes.
Of 2017? Why 2017?
That would encompass the new officers that were hired last year. There were 2 officers.
Yeah, okay, I would,
I mean, I guess it didn't hurt anything if it's, we're
Right.
doing it because of that.
Right.
I would exclude 2 guys.
They'd still fall in the under.
All right.
Well, would they, Jeff?
So they'd still fall in the first year of getting.
Does it
a
go,
week.
does it start though with their higher date, or?
I think just to be safe that we include them, we could use that January 1st, that
Yeah.
date.
That was my intent, to start with January 1st of 2018. They'd have
Okay,
40 hours.
but we just
You
said
would have it.
27.
But you want this retroactive to 2017?
To include them as first-year hires.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm agreeable to that in the motion.
Those are the only people hired in 2017, as well as Kevin Hill, the assistant rec director. Those 3 people would have those 40 hours.
Yeah.
They were hired towards the end of the year.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have other business, new business.
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead, sir.
One thing I wanted to comment on, we had received a specific request from Mrs. Katie asking us to further reduce the default budget. I think her request, I don't think, I know her request was based on the recent court decision regarding Ware's default budget. We've adjusted the default budget several times already for a good reason, some from citizens' comment, some from budget committee comment. We've presented the default budget at the deliberative session, at the budget public hearing, and at this point, I think we should leave the default budget as is. And I know from the legal opinion that we got, our attorney does not feel that we're in the same position that Ware was with their default budget, and I think I'm comfortable recommending that we move forward with the default budget as we presented it at this point. I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but.
I agree.
Agree.
Fred?
Have we posted town roads to the 6-ton limit?
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw 2 flatbed trailers carrying, I guess they were probably 12-inch by 12-inch by however long beams that apparently are used for mats for
Power lines,
power lines.
yeah.
And they were coming down on Parade Road. So I don't know if, I assume those guys were exceeding the 6-ton limit.
Yeah, we should advise the road agent, and the other thing I know is, depending on the temperature, sometimes the road agent will grant special permission, but it's almost always right around the time the sun comes up, if he does.
He did have a problem over off Ritchie Road last week and had to have the police
Mm-hmm.
back him up.
Yeah.
So that if they see it, they're acting on it. They're trying
Okay.
to catch him.
Excellent. Anyone else with any kind of business? All right, we need to go into a non-public under,
Oh, actually, could I back up before I
Yes,
make
you
that
can.
motion? Ooh, I was forgetting something. Jeannie Menard had approached me with regard to Northern Pass. The Department of Energy is still collecting statements from consulting parties in the 106 process, and the Section 106 process was cultural heritage and historic sites. Jeannie would like us to submit commentary. The Department of Energy is still accepting it, even though they had an initial cutoff date of February 8th. One of the reasons that Jeannie feels it's important for us to continue with this is, and I'm going to get the name wrong, Department of Historical Resources or what have you, disagreed with the Northern Pass reports and stated that Deerfield would definitely be impacted, particularly with regard to the town center by the town hall and with regard to the Deerfield Parade. There was also another entity that disagreed, and these were nonpartisan entities that clearly felt that there was a problem, flagged the deficiencies. Jeannie did prepare a draft, which I'm going to leave in our correspondence for people to read, and we could decide maybe at next meeting
Okay.
whether we want to forward that or not. But the Department of Energy, I believe, is encouraging people to continue with this, just so it's on file if there is an appeal of Northern Pass, and also so it's on file if you have similar energy projects proposed for the same lines. You've included it and incorporated it,
Yep.
and it will live on in perpetuity to some extent anyway.
in perpetuity. Thanks, Andy, for bringing that up.
All set for non-public?
Yeah, I need an A.
RSA 91A3, Roman numeral 2, letter A. Dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, or the disciplining of such employee, or the investigation of any charges against him or her unless the employee affected.
Second?
Yes.
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 Yes. Be right back. You want that? A year and a half into his decline. All right, a note for the record that no action was taken in a non-public session. Could I get a motion to seal the minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Hold on,
Not
we
yet.
have one citizen. Citizens' comments?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
6:52.
Excellent.